And welcome back. You know what time it is. It's time to talk football with Jeff and Russ. You guys are talking about not just individual players this week, but we're talking teams and what we need to look at.
That's right. And we're going to talk a little bit about teams that have favorable matchups against the run. As the season goes on, Carrie, we start to get more information. So these are some of the trends that fantasy owners want to look at. So for example, if the upcoming next couple of weeks, teams that are favorable against the run, a good example would be the Miami Dolphins and a running back like Ronnie Brown. They're going up against teams that have not been that good against the run. Ronnie Brown is playing real well this year, as well as Ricky Williams. But he's somebody, if you have on your roster, you may want to definitely pick up.
Brown is picking up more and more carries every week.
Yes,
he's getting a lot of attention.
That's right, he is. And then another team would be the Indianapolis Colts. Joseph Addai. He's actually just come back from an injury, so Addai is a good pick this week too, and in future weeks, as well as a good buy low candidate. Meaning, since he's come back from injuries, hasn't brought the fantasy value, but since he's playing teams that are not that good against the run, he's going to be another good player.
He's coming off a hamstring injury, right?
Yeah.
And so, are you shocked that I know that?
Going, huh?
Well, no, I'm just curious because that can sometimes be a tough injury to overcome.
That's right.
So should people be apprehensive even though he's listed active?
He's coming back now. He's been fine. He played last week, and then they're back up dominant road. So if you have players on that team, the Colts, they're going. That is a team that if you have a running back, you want to start playing the future weeks. And then also San Diego Chargers. They have very good favorable matchups against teams that are not that good against the run, particularly LaDanian Tomlinson, who's been a star, has not had the season that he should have had or has had in the past, but now is the time. If you've held on to him, these are the weeks that you want to play him. Really?
You don't dump him because he's had a rough couple of weeks?
Nope. Now is the time. And then Russ is going to talk about teams with unfavorable matchups.
Yeah, there are several teams that in weeks 14 through 16, which are the fantasy playoff weeks, that we've identified that have got very poor matchups against the run. And the absolute worst matchup belongs to Marion Barber and the Dallas Cowboys. They face three top 5 run defenses in those 3 weeks. So Marion Barber, a guy that's normally considered a stud running back, is a guy that possibly you might want to move and trade to get one of those running backs that has got one of the more favorable matchups during those weeks. Another team, the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons with Michael Turner.
That's right.
Turner has been very good against bad run defenses, but he's been very mediocre against good ones. Well, he's got some bad matchups in weeks 14 through 16, so he's a guy that definitely you want to be looked to moving. And another team, the Baltimore Ravens. Not only is the schedule bad, but you've got a 3-headed running back by committee going on there with Willis McGahee, LaRon McClain, and Ray Rice. It's a nightmare to try and figure out on a week-by-week basis.
Yep.
Are they back in action? Are they on the active list now? Or because I know they were all injured, right?
Yeah, all 3 of them are listed as probable on the injury report. All 3 are expected to play this week. All 3 were active last week, but McGahee never actually got into any game action.
That's right.
And that just adds to the complete headache that's running back by committee with Baltimore.
But the Cardinals don't have that problem.
I was just going to say, we have to get to the Cardinals. We have about a minute and a half. Cards playing Monday Night Football, and Kurt Warner has been looking incredible.
Yes, Kurt Warner has definitely been a great quarterback this year. We identified him last week as one of the new stud quarterbacks that you definitely play every week regardless of matchup. On pace for over 4,700 passing yards and 28 touchdowns. And this week he gets a 49ers pass defense that the last time he faced them last year in Arizona, he put up over 400 passing yards and 2 touchdowns against. Earlier this year, he had only 197 yards and 1 touchdown, but I think that Kurt Warner definitely is stepping up.
As well as Anquan Bolden and Larry Fitzgerald. They have great matchups against the 49ers. So.
And we're, what, 9.5-point favorites?
Yes, we are. Man, I'll tell you, you are on top of this now, aren't you?
Football.
That's a good deal.
Okay, gift card giveaway?
That's right. We do our weekly fantasy football gift card giveaway. So the first person that emails Jeff at fantasyfootballstarters.com with the name of the Arizona running back that kind of took over the starting role last week and scored, had over 100 yards rushing and a touchdown, name that running back, and you're going to get that gift card, which has tools, games, and magazines, and you can use for the entire year.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being here, as always. Great day for football, and I'm excited. Monday Night Football in our hometown tomorrow night. It doesn't get much better than that. Thank you so much.